All right, Ptah and Hotep. So, real quick, actually, I don't know how quick it's gonna be, but I'm gonna be walking you through my suggestions for your next assignment. I'm gonna be just giving you some quick tips and hints on how to work with code spaces, which is basically, or excuse me, code space, which is the environment that I'm gonna assign you to do your next assignment on. So for your next assignment, you have two options. The first option is to create a kinetic tune, to recreate a kinetic tune. Um, the tune that I posted in Google Classroom was King Dozier's tune. So we'll take a look at how to create that, how to recreate that, and I'll show you the same tips and tricks. And then we will go through your second assignment option, which is to create a Harlem Renaissance art museum. And the reason I chose the Harlem Renaissance Art Museum is because during the Harlem Renaissance, a lot of artists were struggling with the idea of what their art should look like. So there were some artists were saying that they should represent themselves as they were today, while others uh, were under the impression that it would be better to represent um, Africa. So you're going to see in the example that I show you, you'll see how artists connect Egypt to their work. And one artist in particular is known for creating works of art that pretty much mix the old and the new. And because of that, and also the fact that we're a theme-based school and this month's theme is Harlem Renaissance, I thought that it'd be the best thing to go ahead and allow you to do either or. So right now I'm going to upload the example. So this is an example of not necessarily what you'll have to create, but you have the option to create a Harlem Renaissance Museum. So right now we're looking at my exhibit for Augustus Savage. Augustus Savage was an American sculptor between the years of 1892 and 1962. This is actually a video that I play once I get it hooked up right. As you can see, I don't just have her artwork, but I also have um, letters. I have actual resources that you can use and that you can refer to if you are to do an assignment on Justice Savage. Um, I also have videos and uh, images, which because of the fact that I wasn't able to get any actual sculptures, for me, that kind of gives us the ability to show as much of the artwork as I can. Um, and you can actually see the harp that's right here. It's actually 16 feet tall. So this is located in the park, and well, it was located in the park, but because of the fact that it was made to be destroyed, it's since been destroyed. Um, so one thing I want you to notice is as you tour this museum, which is I will make available to you as soon as I finish it, as you can see that it's not done. Like there's the elevator right there, it's not done. Like I got bare walls over here that aren't done, and if you were to walk off of this ledge, you would fall. Um, this is the second floor. I'm gonna go ahead and come down here to the first floor so I can show you what I was talking about and the reason why I'm giving you this option. So this exhibit is, I hope I get her name right, is Lois Malu Jones. We go ahead and see it, post the image of her name. Um, and here's what I'm talking about when I say that she mixes the old with the new. That's actually what she became well known for. The reason that I chose to include her in this exhibit is not only because she's a Harlem Renaissance artist, but because she lived through so many Renaissance periods, so many periods of new birth. Um, and you can really tell that through her work. She's so versatile with her, uh, not only her approach, but also with her style, with her medium, meaning with the tools that she worked with, be it painting and acrylic, drawing, or painting in watercolor. As you can see, like her work, it stands out. For example, this one was done in 1953. Um, I want you to really pay attention to the fact that not only am I showing the work of art, but I'm also showing the information. So that's going to be something that's important to you when you start to build yours, because you're going to need to have not only the work, but you need to also have the name of the image, the artist, the year. And I would prefer that you put the medium. And again, when I say medium, I'm referring to what the artist used to create this work of art, be it watercolor, acrylic, pencil, graphite. What did they use to create the work of art? So again, she's known for mixing it, not only the old and the new, but remember when I said that artists were struggling with whether or not they should represent themselves in their current everyday life or if they should represent Africa. So you can really tell how she has done that. For example, if you look at this painting right here, um, this could very well take place anywhere. Actually, when you look closer, you can see that she's sitting on a wooden seat. Um, but she's braiding hair like any other, like a mother would braid hair. So, and this up close view almost gives the viewer causes the viewer to pause, like if you're trying to figure out if it is it in Africa or is it in the United States. Well, it could be either or, and I think that's probably why she did it so close. But if you look closely, um, you can tell by the patterns. She started out as a textile artist, so and we've talked about textiles before. We're talking about a pattern or a print in the background. Well, in this case, this print in the background. Um, and the colors refer to Africa. Um, we come when we look at the work over here, for example, the ascent of Ethiopia. It says the ascent of Ethiopia. You can tell how she's mixing this um, Egyptian uh, person or character with, you can still get references from Egypt here, but when you look back here, you're able to see these tall buildings and you're able to see this, the music, um, which will refer to a city life and refers to what's going on currently. Um, so that's another example of how she mixes the old and the new. When you come ahead, you come around the corner over here, so you can see this is more work from the same artist. But not only was she a painter, she was also an illustrator. So as you walk through this gallery, um, and you study and prepare to create your own, not only should you pay attention to what I have posted, but also when you choose your artist, make sure that you show a variety of work so that we can see all of the different styles. So the first paintings that we're looking at over here, you can tell by the way the color pops and it stands out, the bright colors and the solid um, spaces. You can tell that that's acrylic. And then as you come over here, we're starting to get into her watercolor. So this is watercolor. This is probably watercolor and gouache. Gouache is a mix. It's similar to watercolor, but it's a little heavier. So, and I can tell that when I look here. For example, this orange is much different than this orange. This orange is almost transparent, while this orange, you really can't. The opacity is completely different. And that's an effect that gouache will let you distill. Oh no, this is maybe this is. Oh no, this is actually oil. So this is oil on canvas. Again, you can still tell the difference between this is watercolor, this is not. So this is actually oil on canvas. Again, her artwork tells a story because not only do we have images, so not only do we have images from the United States, but we also have images from Africa. So she actually did spend a large amount of time in Africa, and her work reflects it. If we scroll down, again, when we look at this, we know that this is not watercolor, but the artist does work with watercolor as well. Here's one of her art watercolor paintings. Here's, see, this one looks like acrylic. This one's acrylic on board. And again, this one is back to watercolor. So you can tell the difference in the style. This is obviously graphite or pencil. So again, this is another style that the artist works with. So we've seen watercolor, we've seen acrylic, and now we're looking at um, charcoal. So not only did she do abstract work, like the work that we see uh, on this wall, is a kind of a mixture. Um, this is an abstract, but the rest of them is kind of abstract. And we've seen cityscapes that we saw over here, and now we're seeing portraits. This is, I wouldn't call it abstract because we can make out these masks, but it's a mixture. Um, and so now we're into portraits again. I'm just trying to highlight the idea that she was so versatile with her painting. Also, as we scroll down, we can see that she goes into more landscapes and cityscapes. As we come around the corner, again, this area is not finished yet. However, this is Jacob Lawrence's section of the museum. You'll only be required to do two unless you work with the group. Um, not only does it have these images, but it also has the video that plays in the background. When I'm finished with it, it will play as soon as you come into the room. So this shows 60 of his migration, 60 paintings from his migration series. And it basically starts right here and it stops over here. And it all tells a story. Um, there's actually an entire book where each image has, I think, a sentence or two, maybe three, that really tells how it's talking about um, how African Americans came, um, how they migrated to these main areas. If you look closely, you can tell the whole idea is that they're moving from the south to the north. And you can tell it what he's saying here is some of them went to Chicago, some of them went to New York, and some of them went to St. Louis. Then he really goes there and then he starts to talk about this journey from the south to the north. And as soon as I get to finish this, you'll be able to see that. But a part of this class is me showing you the process of creation. So um, I'm showing you this, the overall museum is not done yet, but I do want you to see the possibilities. Um, here they're still talking about this process of going from the north to the south, and the way that they're treated. He's showing just labor, what the labor was like. So what did jobs look like? If you were to think about jobs of African Americans now, it would look much different than this. But it's still important that we have this documented. Again, one of the roles of an artist is to document what's going on in the time. So this is what he saw when he saw black people working. This is what he saw. And again, when I finish, it will have the paragraphs um, at each of the under each picture. And so here we're starting to see new buildings. So this looks much different than this working in the fields, right? So that was, we're getting closer to this area. And I was showing what the inside of a home looks like, the inside of these apartments look like. We can look at these apartments and see that they're close together. So we know that they must be small. Railroads are very significant because, again, during this time, working on the railroad was one of their ways to have income. Still talking about this migration, where we see what kind of food people were eating during that time. So the food looked like, um, here's another train. So we're still moving. If you look closely at this one, um, I think it's interesting that he focuses on the clothing here. Um, this is one way that a lot of women made money, which was again with clothes, again, ironing, washing, whatever the case may be. But look how beautiful and bright these colors are. I think that he said that this was inspired by his mother because even though they had a shack-like home, look how small this window is. It almost looks like similar to a jail cell. So we know how small the room, the overall room of the space is because of how small this window is. But he said that his mother still would decorate the house with beautiful garments. So that's what inspired this. You can see a lot of beds put in one space here. So we know that this is some sort of area where a lot of people are sharing a sleeping space. So again, you know that the overall space is small. And this is still talking about the migration. This is talking about the divide between whites and blacks. Um, blacks on one side, whites on the other side. A couple of things that stand out in this is that it's just the positions of the poses that the figures are sitting in. He's looking very uh, disdainful, maybe. It's the look is boastful almost. And he definitely looks. And maybe proud is just is good compared to the other figures. He definitely has a mission. He's most definitely on a mission. You can tell with his shoulders up to his ears, with how big his hands are. So look at what's on the plates. Also, like that on their plates, it's little to nothing. Um, this is talking about race riots. Um, so this is during a time where there were race riots. They said that one of the biggest race riots happened in St. Louis, which is not too far away. So this is something that he will have seen and heard about and experienced, just like we were seeing things on television and hearing about it and experiencing it. Um, if we were to draw pictures of Black Lives Matter, that whole movement, if we were to draw pictures of that, this is comparable to that. Well, not this part, but this is almost like Ferguson. I have seen some horrific pictures of Ferguson, not to the point where they was tearing up actual homes, but businesses were being looted uh, and burned. So it's like a church scene, it's like a marriage scene, a funeral. So he's still just documenting life. Again, here it's a doctor, black doctor taking care of a black patient. This is what he's saying. Uh, Somebody washing clothes. These are clothes. This stick being washed. You can tell also in the background she has hung the other garments to dry. Here he is comparing school. Yep. Here he is comparing school in the north versus uh, that in the south. So you can tell here they are reaching highly in it, writing their numbers, and you can tell some sort of learning and some sort of progression is taking place. While in this area, it's questionable, and I'm not sure what's going on here. So uh, then it ends with another railroad picture. So again, the takeaway is A, that when you create your space, your environment, please make sure that your images are clear and to choose images that can represent enough of the artist to tell the story. We'll come out, and again, this was Jacob Lawrence. So now we come out into the to this area, and I'll talk to you a little bit about Aaron Douglas, who is also a Harlem Renaissance painter. He worked very large on very large scales. Um, and this is the style that he worked with the most. Again, you can tell it's not finished because unlike the two female artists that I have up at this point, these two, Aaron Douglas and Jacob Lawrence, they don't have the names, the labels of the movie yet. Again, just talking about a migration phase. And you can tell that these, they were on a ship. I don't know if you remember or not, but they said that they had to throw, people got sick, they would throw them over the side of the ship. Um, and you can tell that they're heading somewhere. Because A, he's pointing, and B, this is the last part of the picture. So these are also, he's also using these tools to follow a star. So you can tell that that's her form of navigation. As you come out, you'll notice that um, here I'm going to have someone talking about Marcus Garvey. Um, you know, here are the characters that I plan on using. Again, this is a work in progress. So you can tell that they're just, at this point, they're just talking. But I will have one of them over here in this area talking about Marcus Garvey. And then as you walk around, um, that'll be, for example, this is going to illustrate the marches that Marcus Garvey would put on. So um, the next thing I'm going to go through and show you is the first part, which is to keep it simple, the architecture. You might want to start out by sketching, so know what you want your museum to look like. Um, for me, this is fun, so I took my time with it, and I decided I wanted 3 levels. So got pretty much I'd say half of it done. I got this part of the bottom. I have another one right here, a little less than half done. Um, but the first thing that you want to think about is what do you want to look like. And I want to come out of here and I'll show you how to create your space. So once you get into your space, the first thing that you need to do is choose an environment. So if you're choosing a museum, your options are going to be different than if you choose an Egyptian tomb. I would choose the desert for the Egyptian tomb. Obviously, if your museum was going to be underwater, then maybe you want to choose this, but it's up to you. So I'm not going to, you might even want to be on the moon. But this is actually a nice area. It's a nice option because it's already set up. And all you need to do is figure out how you want to show your work because while it is already set up, it's not too much wall space, which we need in a museum. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this area just so I can show you some tips. Okay, so now we have our environment. The next step that you're going to need is to start to build the external part of your building. So I'm going to bring out this brick space. One thing that if I was to do my other museum over again is just because I ended up using the space around it, I would make it a little smaller. Like first thing I was thinking is that I wanted to show as much artwork as possible. So I used the most of this space, and now's a good time to talk about this space. The only area where you can actually put anything is on this grid space. So if I was to try to move this into the street, it won't work. And when people play your game or when they push play on your museum to walk through it, they can't walk in the streets either. So you can only use this space. So keep that in mind as you create. Next, again, as I was saying, I would use less of it so I can have some stuff on the outside. So right now, when you see the arrows, you know that you can move whatever is selected. Click this again, and now you can expand whatever is selected. One thing that I learned with the last museum is that the walls are too thin. You'll have problems when you add the levels to it. So don't make them extremely big, like that's way too thick for a wall. This is probably a good space. That way, when I add the floors, the different levels, I have some room to work with. Next, right now this camera is about at eye level. And also if I was to take a character, which is a good idea, just to I would take an adult size character because the other ones, the kids are gonna be smaller than um, the people. So if I come right here, this is looking head on at the camera. So this is how you gauge how tall your wall should be. So if you want multiple levels, then when you push play, when you push start, you're gonna come out this high, right? Um, so I'm gonna just leave him there for right now. So now that I have made a wall, I'm gonna go ahead and click this again. I want to Control Alt, and no, I'm just gonna hold down Alt and click and drag. So now I have two walls. They're the exact same. I'm gonna do that one more time. Control, or excuse me, Alt and drag. We now have the third wall, and I can go ahead and rotate it till it gets to 90 degrees. Notice how it snapped into place. That's because the snapping feature is on. So while this is checked, when I turn and I rotate and I move, it snaps to a certain point on this grid. If I take that off, then it moves fluidly, um, but it's a little hard to get it to go to a specific angle. Now I have my other wall, I can expand it. Another thing to keep in mind is the fact that your museum used to have windows and doors. And at this point, you will only have walls. So if I was to do this, repeat the process, and hold down Alt and drag, and now I have just a box with no way to get in. So to delete this, I'm just gonna push backspace, just highlight it. But what I could do is Alt and drag, and then I could move this over. Okay, and I'm going to click this again, Alt and drag to move this over. I can click this again, Alt and drag, and then bring this up. Oops. Right, so now I have an entrance space. Also the fact that we need windows. So before I go to that, notice how still when I click these, they highlight and they can be manipulated. Well, the more stuff that you begin to put in your scene, the more cumbersome that becomes. So what we're gonna do is, and this doesn't look like it's perfect, like I want it. So I can tell because I can see these corners hanging out. Let's do that. And then I want to right click and go lock. So now this will not move. Another thing that I want to do is I'm going to take these three walls. So I probably won't be using them any more right now. I'm going to click it, hold down shift, and click all three so I can select them all at the same time. Right click. No, that didn't have to right click. I'm holding down shift, still clicking. And now I can take group. You can also push G or Control G. So now I've grouped all of these three walls together, and you can tell because if I go like this, it actually let me see that I have an extra wall right here that I need to delete, probably for when I was making duplicates. So when you group it, and turns them all into an object that you can move at the same time. And since I don't want to move it anymore, I'm just gonna go ahead and push lock. So now I can do like this. See, I'm clicking on it and it's not moving. That's the point. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start working with the windows. This doesn't quite need to be that tall. It might give me problems later on. So I want to go ahead and click this again, back up, and drop this down so that just barely an overlap. Just to keep everything the same. Get rid of that. So I'm gonna make room for my windows now. So here's how I'm gonna do this. Make it a small pillar like there. Small pillar like. Now I'm gonna alt click and drag. I'll do this a few times. Just to keep it equal. I'm gonna keep that one. Shift, click. So I'm not gonna group them together right now, but I am gonna alt, click and drag. Now bring this all the way over to this side. Still paying attention to detail, so I'm making sure this is lined up. Just what I would expect for you to do as well. See how it's not letting me perfectly line it up? This is a good example of when to deselect the snap to grid. So now I can move this without it snapping past where I want it. But again, I like the snapping feature, so once I'm done, I always put it back. So at this point, this is a little too big for a doorway, so I'm gonna do this one more time. Again, I didn't group it yet, but I will. So maybe one more. Entrance, so maybe I'll just move this over. Trying to space these out so they're looking somewhat even. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much, but most artists like to have things neat, especially when we're talking about angles and we're talking about, because later on it could turn into something that causes an issue. So for me, that looks pretty good. One thing I don't like is having three on this side and on this side. So I think what I'll do is we'll just go ahead and get rid of this anyway. Move this over. And maybe this will be a large, like 4 or 5 door entrance right here. I'll be fine with that. So now I can group all of these together. I can put them all at the same time. Again, I can group them all at the same time. So I held down shift, clicked all of them, right clicked on it to get the group to come up. I'm gonna right click on it again and click lock because I'm not gonna really do it again. Now for the bottom portion, since these are gonna be windows, I'm just gonna go ahead and unlock this, back up, and alt, click, and drag this down. Then I'm gonna click on this. You mess up, push Control Z. Now I'm gonna click on this bottom portion. I'm just gonna drag this down like this. So as long as it's highlighted, if you move your mouse, if you click and drag, it's gonna move that piece, which is again why it's important to go on it, lock it up once you get it to where you want it. I'm still playing with this. So now I'm gonna just drag this over. That's good enough. I'm gonna click, alt, click, and drag, and put this one over here. So now I have window spaces, spaces for window on this side, and spaces for the door. Then I'm done with the facade. I can click this portion, and this portion. Oh, no, that's locked. I'm not to unlock it first. Okay. So I can click the first group of pillars, shift and click the bottom portions that we just put, group it together, and right click again and lock it. Not, I can't forget to lock this one as well because I had unlocked that. So now all of this is locked. No matter where I click, this is just another test. Also, as I'm going through, I can tell that this isn't even because of that. It's not too big of a deal, but if it was off any more than that, then I would fix it. It just looks bad. It's not the same way on both sides. So at this point, I have added the exterior of my building. Now I can put in glass. So I'm gonna come down here to library, gonna build. Here's the glass panels right here. So I'll go ahead and drag it out. Again, I'm gonna have to rotate it. My snapping's still on the thing. So to rotate, I'm gonna click on the blue, turn until it gets to 90 degrees. I click here. I can put it into the right location. This is a good reason to have your walls. See, if the walls are thin, it's gonna be hard to get this glass in between here. So I'm gonna put this again so I can make this large. And now I have 3 windows, 1 pane, which is good. I don't plan on doing anything special with this glass because we need them to have separate uh, glass, separate panels. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same process. Click this so I can get my arrows back, my move arrows. Alt, click, and drag. So now I can lock these, right click, lock. And I go here, select my windows, right click, and lock. And now I'm ready to think about this entryway. I'm not gonna put a door right here, however, because not right now, because during the building process, if you have a lot of stuff in the way, like right now, really these walls are in the way. Or if my walls, my building is this tall, I'm probably gonna need to move this back wall out of the way so that I can see when I add my levels, add the different floors on here. So when it comes to navigating, I think this is a good time. So now that we have an actual object, it's a good time to start thinking about navigating in this space. So right now, when I'm rotating like this, it's rotating around an axis that is at 0, 0, 0. That means all of this is right here. I believe this is the center point right here. It's, let's see if I pull this out right quick. If I can show you on the transform, but here's the example. This says on the X axis, the Y axis, and the Z axis is offset to 0. And again, we talked about an axis being something that divides a plane in half. So, which gave us quadrants. And he's not quite at 0, 0, 0. For example, if I was to select him, it's so tiny, and turn his code on, now I can say, move this regular man into 0, 0, 0 when I touch play. See how he moves? Can't see, but he moved right to the point of 0, 0, 0. That's just on a side note. So when he moved right here. I said that to say that when I'm moving this, the entire space is moving around that axis. So axis. So if it was like if it was a ball, this is the origin. If it was a ball, this would be the center point of it. If it was the Earth, this would be um, the center point of it. If it was the sphere. Um, Now, if I hold down the space button and I click, now I can pan around it. And the reason that it's like that is because that's whatever highlighted. So if this is highlighted, this is what this is now what I'm moving around. And whatever you have highlighted, if nothing's highlighted, it's moving. I believe it's moving around the center point. And if you have something highlighted, it becomes 0, 0, 0 to itself. As you play with it, you'll begin to learn what I'm talking about. Which brings to another thing. As you begin to add more objects, so for example, right now I want to work with this camera, or if I wanted to work with him, I can simply click him, and no matter where I was, if I can't see him, I just push a V, and it brings me right to him, right? So this talking about the navigation of the space. All right. So right now this is like it's a big giant room, and as I said before, you could, if you're working by yourself, you're gonna have two artists to work with, and if you are working with a partner, you guys can do four. Both of y'all can do two. But the thing about that is, working with a partner, you will create this space together. Right? Um, so that makes the job a little lighter. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and divide this up into four places. Um, if you have a sketch, if you want to do it and be good at it, then sketch it out first. If not, um, for this project, it's still okay to play with it and feel your way through because we're also learning this software. So to make the walls, I'll just pull out a block. I'll drag, and then I'll drag. The reason that we left the person there is so that we know how tall you'll be when you in play mode. And so if this is a space, this is a wall, it's gonna be um, in the same location on every floor. Then we can go ahead and stretch it up to the top. Again, um, ideally, probably what I'm gonna do is go ahead and click on the building, right click on group, and then I'm gonna move this out the way because it's in the way. And I'll put it back before I get started. So I'll have a wall. So I still need to divide this space into four um, areas where I can have four different artists. You can do more if you want to. So I'm gonna go ahead and right click, or well, alt click and drag. At this point, I can have three. Again, I can alt click and drag. This time I'm gonna rotate because I need some levels. And since this is the actual floor, and it's gonna need to go for right now, just right now until I figure out where I want stairs to go. I'm gonna go ahead and expand it to the wall again. This is why it's important to not have your walls too thin on the exterior walls, the walls that are on the outside, the brick walls, because there should be lights. If they are too thin, then when I'm expanding this, it will be peeking out like that. We don't want that. So we want this to end, we want the end of that to be inside of this brick wall so that you can't see it. This one looks good. but if I needed to, I can go out a little bit, and still I won't be able to see it um, in here, like out on the other side. So now, right now, this is what this looks like. Um, so I have to start thinking about how I want, and on top of that, it's divided into six spaces, but um, it's a museum, and museums don't just have exhibitions; they also have dining areas. Because this is for the Harlem Renaissance, you might also think about putting having some bands, musicians, poets. So we need more than just the spaces for the exhibit. This will probably have a back wall just to make it feel complete. But right now, let's think about how we're going to get from the bottom level to the second level. And it's, even now, this is kind of tall for a level. I could come down like this. This is the person, again, this is why we left him there, because we need to know how to build in a way that when we push play, first of all, when we push play, wherever the camera is, that's where we're going to start. So when we push play, this, when we come into the environment, this feels natural. Like we can look up, and this is about the height of an actual ceiling. Um, Unless we want it to be extremely vaulted, which is an option, but we still need to have some sort of normalcy. We don't want it to be just a like garage feel or a factory feel. Um, so that's the reason for leaving the person, and we know that wherever the camera is, this is the height that the game, when it's in play mode, this is the height. And if you want to actually turn this to a game, then you can. So you know, if you saying games, because this is how you would build one. Don't forget this can be viewed also in a VR headset. So we're actually building a 3D virtual environment. We'll go ahead and exit out of play mode. Um, Again, I'll probably separate these so that like into small segments, but for this class and for our 45 minutes, which has probably been up, let's see how long it could be. It's not timing. Um, this is everything that we're covering today. And if you missed this Zoom meeting, you need to write your paper then. Go ahead and write it on anything that we covered, anything that I covered and talked about this time. So what I'm gonna do next is go ahead and figure out the stairs. So over the library, I'm gonna go to let's try housing. It might be other, looks like it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna ask if it's okay for, I know you guys have to build a bridge. And here's some things, and I'd like to see if it's okay for you to do it in the VR space. So I'm gonna be asking Miss Cook about that. There's some extra stuff to, to avoid. Just, that's the only staircase in there. Come on. This is the only option for a staircase in this environment. It don't even feel safe. In the other environment, it had better stairs. Let's see what I got over here. You know, kind of what we gotta do. So think about where we're gonna put these stairs. Again, the snapping feature is on, so it's really clean and easy to move. Let me see how big this is compared to him. He goes underneath it well, so it's almost as though just the natural way these stairs are, how big they're imported in. If they're imported at a regular size, that means that I could bring this down if I wanted to. If I didn't want to, then I would just need to expand my stair. But we just want to get it to where the stairs are meeting up to the level. So while we're playing, oh man, that's because again, this is a lot. So while we're playing, the player can walk up the stairs and get to the second floor. Probably gonna have to change a lot of it. But this is again, if you didn't start off with a sketch and you're just playing around, which is okay still, because you know the software. Um, these are some of the things that you're gonna come up, you're gonna face. Some of the challenges you're gonna face. All right, so I think I'm gonna use these stairs like that. Go ahead and make some space for them. All right, and then I'm gonna have to add a second one, a second portion. So I can go like this. Make sure they meet so that when the character walks up, they don't fall um, back down to the second level. And this looks like a good place for my second set of stairs. Usually buildings don't just have one place for the stairs. So we'll go ahead and Alt, click, and drag. And while I do that, go ahead and lock this up. I'll push this over here. Don't forget to lock your stuff because again, if you don't, if you do like I'm doing, it's just time this way. And then I'll have to rotate. There's also keyboard shortcuts. Go ahead and take it to the 180 degrees. And I'll tell you about the shortcuts in a second. I haven't memorized them yet. So then right now the walls are getting in the way. Let me lock this. And this is in the way. Let's get that to go down when you pull it up. Get it to go down, just push it again. All right. Might have to move this wall up there. Okay. I'm just trying to get this into this corner so I can see it. Yeah, I'm gonna move this wall. All right, so perfect. I think I'm gonna put it right here so that it can be close to the wall. It's really not too much space in between this wall and this one, but the point is that now we can get from the bottom level to the top level. One thing that I did just notice is that the camera's still in this spot. So go ahead and lock it up. Let me go ahead and lock that. I'm looking right here and I can tell that that's gonna collide. I'm just moving on. Right, so this needs to be brought up a little bit, and then it needs to be brought over. Now I think when I move my wall back, yep. So that looks like a good space. So now I have two ways for a visitor to, they can either get to the second floor from these stairs or these stairs. As you saw in my other museum, I am creating also an elevator option. Keep in mind, when you build these spaces, one thing to keep in mind is that the space should be comfortable for everyone. So if a person has a disability, then we want to also be able to accommodate them. So a person can't come upstairs, and we need to have another option for how they can get to the next level. As you can see right here, um, this shouldn't be like that. So if I click on this again, numbers, move it over so that you can't see it again. That's why it's important to have your walls have a little bit of width to your walls. And I'll follow. I got two ways to get to the second floor. This is enough for today, and I'm gonna stop it, and I'm gonna chop this up so that you guys can have. I think I'll chop it up into into building specific parts. But so this part was us starting the architecture. Um, you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna keep going with it because you can fast forward, pause, whatever you need to do. This isn't a real class. Um, I'm just gonna make this as the video, and then you're in control of how you want to do this. So at this point, I'm gonna unlock this. Again, if you didn't catch what I just said, pause this video to do what you need to do, or fast forward this video to do what you need to do. But I'm gonna go ahead and build a significant amount of way through and do this posting. And then later on, maybe I'll go back and um, post separate portions. But for right now, this is what I'm gonna do. So now I got that first floor. Well, this will be the first floor, not the second floor. So now I'm gonna right. I'm gonna Alt, hold down Alt on the Rocky tenant, click and drag. I'm just gonna eyeball this for right now. But when I put the stairs in, that's gonna make sure that it's gonna let me know that the stairs, that the space between here and here is equal to the space between here and here. I'll just use the stairs instead of putting a person on every one. But I don't want it to look exactly the same. So I want the layout for this floor to be the same as that one. So I'm gonna come up here and I'm going to, actually I can't do it that way without it doing the same. So I'm just gonna flip it. Instead of flipping it, instead of rotating it on that axis, I will take it on the Z axis. Let's see what just happened. Okay, good. All right, so now it's the exact opposite. And again, it snaps right into place. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock it just for right now. So it doesn't move. Now I come here, unlock, click, get my move arrows up, Alt, and drag up. We'll have this over here. Click this and lock it. I can lock this. So now that's where I can work with. So I'm probably gonna put this one right there, menu, All I need to do is rotate it 180 degrees. 180 degrees will take it right to the opposite direction that it was in the first time. So they just need to zoom in so I can see. I'm gonna try to position it. It's not gonna fit. It's okay. At least I have something to work with. Again, it's the snapping. So I can either take this off. If I do it like this though, it makes it not as extreme. So that's really good. Um, then I'll push it back. That was actually good enough to lock in place for right now until I get to the other one. And now I can zoom out. I'm just gonna, instead of selecting the whole thing, I'm just gonna select one group. And now I just want this part. I'm not gonna move it, but I'm gonna make it uh, more narrow. Okay, zoom out, right click and lock. And before I play test this, I'm gonna go ahead and play test it right now. I'm gonna take my camera, so it's the first person game. So take my camera and walk. Camera set for walking. And what I'm testing is to make sure that I can come up these stairs without falling off. Okay, so that worked. Again, I'm gonna have to put it, the wall will be back there, but I'm gonna have to put some glass around it. People don't just walk off the edge, but I wanna make sure that I can come up all of the stairs, get to the third level without falling. And another thing that's good is that I have this walking space down here, so I can still get around. If I need to, I can put doors, a doorway in this area or this area. But if I, for some reason, don't, this is a good exhibition hall for whatever Harlem Renaissance artist that you choose. So I'm not recording this, but I'm just building it without talking about every step that I'm making. I have a video in the background playing that's telling me about these artists. Um, I would do the same thing. So choose your artist, get it, because you're gonna have to have multiple forms of media uh, that you display in your museum. So you're gonna have to find a video anyway. So once you get the hang of it, and you don't have to watch me do this, and when you're doing it on your own, just play that video in the background. Here's an example of what will happen if you don't put any stairs or any glass. You just fall down to the next level. Like, and it's okay falling down, but you can't depend on somebody. If I jump with the space bar, I cannot jump that high. So that's not an option for the person to get from the bottom level of the museum to the top level of the museum. I would also challenge you to turn this into some kind of video game, something to where maybe a scavenger hunt, maybe I don't know, get creative, maybe you gotta collect something. And once you get your materials and everything in place, I promise to help you with the scoreboard and the pickups and the collectible items. But for right now, for marketing purposes on my own behalf, it's not gonna behoove me. So um, I just want to have a nice museum that I can present to somebody. Uh, and if they ask for a game, then I will. But in other words, what I'm saying is I'm not just gonna do that if you don't need it. so it's not in this video. All right. So you just keep repeating these same processes. So right now, I'm comfortable with stopping the video because I can say that right now I'm showing you how to create several spaces. This could be um, an exhibit. Uh, the only thing is that I would also put either a back wall or um, once I put my back wall, I want to play. The last thing I'm gonna do is play testing with the back wall, so we can see. But I have shown you how to make, like, with just this, you could be done with the architecture, put some works of art up, and get your grade with just this. You haven't, really done anything beyond uh, what was asked, but you have met the expectations. So I would also do something with this just so that it's neat because you're gonna put some stairs here or you're not, but don't just leave holes because we're all gonna play test this and nobody wants to just not know what's going on. So I'm gonna put this back so that I know that when I roll this out, and also with the video, I wanna submit the link so you can walk through this on your own. Okay, so now it's safe to say that you could turn this in. You can really be neat about it. But again, I'm looking at the artwork and your space needs to be relatively good. Um, Go ahead and lock it. So now I would say that you can turn this in with, again, the reason it's starting right here is because that's what the camera was. With work on the walls, the architecture is acceptable, is what I'm trying to say. And I know that you can have an exhibit on this side and exhibit on this side. If you're working by yourself, you have more than enough space to hang your artwork. And if you're working with a group, then you still have more than enough space to hang artwork. I can successfully get to all aspects of it when you're walking. Um, you, no, you need something right here so that people don't just jump off. So put something right here, put a wall, put some glass. Before I stop this, I'm going to stop this. So we're gonna do it. Drag out my piece, my glass. Rotate it. I like the glass because it still makes it feel open. But so if a wall was there, then the space would feel closed in. But the glass doesn't feel open, and it's protective. So you can even make it go all the way up to the top. Or you can leave it. Um, right now, I'm trying to get this to where this goes all the way over into the wall. I'm gonna come over here and do the same thing. Again, this is just so that when people are walking through your space, they don't just fall off of the edge and then have to start all over again. And I'm gonna make it. I wasn't gonna say it didn't matter, but I'm gonna go ahead and make it a requirement because you don't know. I'm not gonna be myself, and your peers aren't gonna be the only people that look at it. And sometimes people have hard enough time just using the computer. Period. They don't need to have to start the whole exhibit over just because they didn't know they could fall off the edge or something. Um, it's just better. All right. Ah, this is what I'm gonna do. Go ahead and lock this. Okay, so I got that glass wall there. We'll put two of them on the other side. This should, so should that. So keep it simple. I'll just keep the move arrows up. Alt, click, and drag. Don't forget, I still need stillness on this side. So at this point, if there's somebody to turn this in, I want to still know what's going on. Again, I can look at this and tell I can walk upstairs, come into this space where it can have work on. I can come into the middle space where I can see work on, or I can come over to this space where I can see work there. So make sure this is okay. Yeah. Good. Looking like this needs to be locked. Before I do, alt click and look. Alt click and drag. What am I doing? Oh, I get it. So I'm gonna lock this first one. Click on here. Push V. Okay. Yeah, don't hesitate to play test. Okay, that looks pretty good. Put that in just a little bit. Put it up. Oh no, what's wrong? No, that's good. That should be good. Because I was gonna say it was gonna be an issue because of this, but it's really not. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure it's not coming out of the side. If it's not, I can lock it. Yeah. And I just do. And I'm just gonna put one more. And also put IT something. Make this one three. And now I'll go back to the retouching and so that's good. I think I can lock this one. And this is enough for the person to peer over the side, but not far. play test real quick. Again, that person really has nothing to do with this. The last thing I'm going to show you before we stop is how it started at the door. You might think about putting something right here so people don't fall off the side, but yep, and right on this side too. But nonetheless, we can make it up. Oh, no, can't make it up. Why? Because of that. That's why we have to play test. Okay, so just learn something. Wow. Oh, I'm trying to figure out what this morning. It's not the wrong thing, really. Okay, there we go. So okay, so that was too far down. I couldn't get up. Now let's go ahead and lock it. That should be good. Since I'm looking at this, no, I'm moving on. Let me get that right there. All right. So now, see how we navigate through this space. So to make sure we can get up the stairs, it should be good enough to clear it. And it's still not. All right, so I have to come up with a different plan. At this point, I'm just gonna get rid of that altogether. Unlock it. Let's bring it over here. Bring this down. Lock it back. Whatever that is. So right now you can tell that the wall is selected. I'm not trying to select the wall, so I'm gonna lock that. But I am like, when it disappears, it means that I'm in between the wall. So I need to come back here and now I can select it. Trying to just raise this up. Something making me want to put this even here. Again, it's kind of hard to see this stuff gets in the way. That's why I was saying earlier, you don't have to move stuff out the way and pretty much be prepared to put it back. But, all right, so now it's locked. All right, we will one last play test. Now it's not also looks like I gotta start the camera in the right spot. Now we're trying to make sure we can get up the stairs. This is how you play test. So in the future, we make games and things of that nature. Which I do not like this. It looks like it did it. And there's nothing to put like later on make this come all the way up. Because right now it's like a guardrail, but now it's empty spaces when I hang my artwork. What am I doing? Hang on half of this? No, it needs to come all the way up. So I know that for later on. All right, so notice how I did fix it to where you don't walk off, and that's what I would expect. I would expect to where you didn't walk all the way off. Um, So if I keep coming, at least I'll stop and I'll walk off. I can still look down, which is the point of having glass, and it keeps it open. But I can successfully come into each and every um, exhibition because all of these will have different artists. Um, and I'm not probably have the same issue here, so I'm not gonna bother it. All right. Last thing I said I'm gonna do was move the camera to start. Okay, this person is not a part of it. Uh, okay, I'll take that. And probably the next time I will show you how to add images and videos. This morning, if you're in class this morning, however, that's what we went over it. So wherever this camera is, though, this is where when we push play, if it's a game, we push play, this is where we start, wherever the camera is. You also have to know that the camera has different settings. So right now it's in the walk setting. If it was at fixed position, it would stay here. If it was at fly, then you'd be able to fly around, but you would not be able to like jump or go upstairs. You just fly through, which is fine. But if it's a game, you need to have gravity. If it was orbiting, it would just orbit around whatever um, origin we told it to. So I keep it at walk. Here's how you control the speed. Being that this is a museum and not a game where we're going to be running and being speed, because we need to be able to stop and look closely at images, we'll keep it where it's at right now. You can have multiple cameras. That's why this says this is the main camera. So this is the main camera. This is what you would use. You can also set it up to where you have a camera in front of it in a specific station, and then a part that we are. I'll probably do videos on for people that are interested in. So if you want to code it, then we can. But the only thing I want to do is be able to walk through here um, and experience it. And at this point, we haven't. We don't need code. I put this on here, but that's just that minute. So I can delete this and paste it there. So now I can push start and start at the beginning. So this is like I'm coming into your museum. I should be able to, I don't know, if you want something in the main, if you want this to be like the main entrance way where it has tables and chairs and stuff, you could do that. But I should be able to navigate through these spaces and get to all of them. Right now, that if you had an artist up here and this was the only way, you could program because I couldn't get up here to see what the artist is. Now, if you have more stairs like I do, then um, you can come around here and eventually get through to it. However, um, yep, that's enough. So today we learned about architecture, we learned how to uh, import or how to build the structure of our museum. And next class, you should have by next week, next Wednesday, you should have a structure built. Not only that, but I'm gonna have you choose 2 Harlem Renaissance artists. So come with Harlem Renaissance artists in mind and a structure built so that together we can upload your pictures and you can start to place them on the walls. All right, have a good day.